702.
Family Matters.
Welcome back. This is the Clement Manyathela Show. My name is Kgomotso Modise. I'm in for Clem today. It's 11:34 right here on 702, and it's Family Matters. We're speaking about year-end reflections, both for families and individuals. And my guest in this feature is Tshepo Matlou, who's a life coach, and he's on the line with us. And we've been speaking about the importance on reflecting in one's life. I want to invite you to join the conversation on 011-883-0702. How do you go about reflecting? How important is it for you? Is it something that you do at this time of the year? Or is it something that you avoid? I know people that actively avoid, any form of reflection because they're afraid of what it says about them and their lives, and maybe what they may have achieved or what may have happened in their lives over the last couple of months. So if you are a person that reflects, I want to hear how you go about reflecting, and is it something important to you at all? All right, Tshepo, thank you so much for being our guest this morning. I want to hear from you on reflecting as a family. It's not always something that people do. You always think of reflections as an individual journey because, I'm taking accountability, I'm taking stock. But because you live in a family unit, we live with people or we exist with people, no man is an island, it may be important also to reflect, as family about your lives and what's happened in the year that was.
Yes, and thanks for that question, Kgomotso, because it's important for us to start integrating reflection and evaluation. And the reason we should start doing that, it's so that we can be able to open up, especially emotionally. So families don't fall apart because of only conflicts. I think they fall apart mostly because we don't speak about how we feel. So do we have a psychological safety space as a family, as parents with children, to give them space to be able to reflect and to share their emotions, to share how they feel, to share their aspirations? So reflecting as a family draws us to then start looking at each other and say, how have I been able to understand you better this year? How was I misunderstood by each one of you? So we need to start asking each other questions. And there's nothing wrong with creating emotional safety and looking at how we can strengthen our connection, because it's only through communication that we can strengthen family bonds. There are families where I call it the unavailable present parent. So meaning that you find that this whole year you think, if you're like me, it's like you're doing coaching every day, you're getting busy, and you're like, no, but I'm providing, so why should I be present? You find that you as a parent, you can't even make it to sports, you can't make it to things that will actually drive your children. So it's time now to take stock and also ask the children, how can I be present better next year? Or how can I serve you better as a parent? And also same thing from parent to children. So how can you as a child serve better in our household? What are the things that chores that you can start taking in the next year? So it's very, very important that we can look at that. So how hard was this year for you? What are you proud of in this family? Or each person must say, what are they proud of? What helped us to stay together? And what nearly drove us apart? What do we want to achieve more in the next year? And you can start listing things together, holidays that you want to go to, and each person must be responsible for something. Maybe somebody's going to research for accommodation, others who are working are going to save for the money. But each and every person then must have a responsibility. But the three questions that we need to ask as a family together as part of our reflection: what did we do well this year? What did we not do well this year? What can we do to make it better next year?
And I suppose as a parent, if you're going to decide to reflect, but also, speak to your children, then you should brace yourself for whatever answer they may give you, because it may not always be a favorable answer. If you ask your children, what did I do well this year? What could have I done better? You could get any answer from them, especially if they are frank.
Yeah, no, I'm laughing because I've seen those before. Reflection is not supposed to be a courtroom. It's a cycle where we can hear the heart. Unfortunately, there will be triggers, and these triggers, most of us as adults listening to our children, is because we have never been able to challenge our parents. Most of us as parents today, we're not having these conversations with our children. So we must be open to the fact that it might actually hurt. We might be triggered. But the biggest thing is being able to calm down and realizing that we are starting a new cycle, a cycle that is not known, a cycle that even us we were not we're not taught. So the best thing is to encourage listening. So each person must keep quiet. If you want to respond, you write down. If you want to ask a question, you write down. There is no interruption. So give everybody a chance to speak their mind and heart to the end. And then secondly, validate emotions before you dismiss them. So acknowledge. So Tshepo, I see how I made you feel there when I missed your athletics in June. And I really wish I was there. These are my reasons why I couldn't make it. So we don't just start by saying, but I work, I provide, and why do I have to be everywhere? We pause when things feel heated. When the situation becomes hot, we pause. We don't react. We don't respond. Because here's the thing. When we respond, we are spilling our emotions, anger, and the emotions we're feeling to our children. So they grow up thinking that it's an acceptable behavior. While later on we reflect and think it's wrong. We never go back and say, hey, I feel like I didn't react properly there. And I'm sorry. I would like for us to do it better.
We're talking year-end reflections for families and individuals right here on the Clement Manyathela Show. My guest is Tshepo Matlou, who's a life coach. I want to invite you to give us a call on your reflections. Are you a person who reflects quite a bit with your family or individually? Do you sit and take stock, particularly at this time of the year? How do you find that to be? Is it something that you've always done? And has it worked for you, particularly as you prepare to go into the new year? Or do you find that reflecting is pointless? Some people don't even plan for the year ahead. They kind of say, what will be, que sera, sera. Or, do you avoid reflecting because of what may come out of it, that you may be, confronted by realities about yourself that you would rather not see? The number is 011-883-0702, 072-702-1702 is our WhatsApp number. Tshepo, how important is it that one reflects in preparation for the new year? We speak about taking stock in this year and kind of wrapping it up and making sure that you are self-aware, and even as a family, you are all self-aware. And how can not reflecting, not taking stock, affect your new year?
I think it's important for people to understand that the mind requires a sense of celebration. The mind requires that achievement and the ticking off. It requires us to write down the things that we did well on so that it can be able to be stimulated and feel motivated. So it's really important for us to create a list of things that we have achieved, whether we had set the goals or we did not set the goals, but it's important for that. Why? Because when we go into the new year, we should then come up with new ideas, new things that we would really like to achieve, whether it's cutting down on debt from a finance point of view, committing to not taking new debt, whether it's weight loss or looking at our health as a lifestyle. We need to be intentional about setting these goals in achieving. And I want to challenge your listeners to say that maybe this time, let's set goals for 3 years. Maybe let's set goals for 5 years, and maybe let's look at a few areas. So we could look at the health, we could look at career, we could look at money, we could look at fun and leisure, we could look at family and friends, and look at ourselves and say, what are the things that I need to commit to in the next 3 to 5 years or in the next 2 years? So if you are in your mid-50s and you are now approaching retirement, how do you see yourself retiring in the next 6-7 years? What are the things that you're going to be doing? And I know it's not for this topic, Kgomotso, but majority of men, when they retire, they die within 5 to 10 years. And statistics shows that men die early because they then lose a sense of purpose, of provision. So how do we ensure that we stay healthy? How do we ensure that we set goals that allow us to connect with others? We will need families, we will need friends. How do we become intentional about building those relationships for a longer period of time in our life? So it's important not just to reflect on this year. It's now, as we come closer to end of 2025, let's start maybe something bigger, setting goals for the next 5-10 years, setting goals even beyond 10 years, and knowing that I'm going to retire. What are the things that I can start doing in this year to prepare for that? In terms of my career, do I need to study anything in the coming year to be able to increase my knowledge, but also to be able to have new opportunities? In terms of money, do I have to reduce debt? Do I need to increase debt? Do I need to buy a property? So we need to write all that, and then once we have written goals, put the deadline, put the start date and a deadline, and also measurements. How are you going to measure that you have achieved what you set yourself to achieve?
And how does one go about reflecting in a way that doesn't cause you to be overcritical of yourself? Because you might go down, this downward spiral of just thinking, I'm so bad, I haven't achieved, I messed this up this year. So how do you reflect in a way that you're still not overly critical?
I think the first thing is to just release self-blame. That's the first thing. The second thing is release unrealistic timelines. There are times when we have set goals that we did not achieve because they were not achievable. Release comparison. I think social media also has influenced people to think that what people are posting is their reality, and it has put so much pressure in terms of self-judging because you see other people doing better than you are, but it's everything that we see on social media is not 100% real. There are certain things that, yes, you can see that this is real. So we put too much pressure on ourselves. Therefore, it becomes difficult when we need to reflect on what we have achieved because we are comparing ourselves to other people.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to start looking at how do I repair myself without comparing myself with other people? How do I measure myself without making other people to become my competition? All of us, we were born in greatness, coming into this earth with a seed that only us can be able to plant on the ground, look after it on the soil, and be able to provide fruits of that seed. When we compare ourselves with others, we're taking away the power that has been bestowed in us to bring greatness on this earth. So the question is, do we want to be like others? Even with role modeling, we don't want to be like a role model, but we model certain areas of their life that we believe can help us to propel into our own journey to become successful. So it's important not to judge ourselves, compare ourselves, or even blame ourselves for what we did not achieve. First, let's focus on what did we do well on.
Yeah.
And then once we have written that off, it's okay to reflect on things did not well. The relationship ended. I went into more debt than I thought. I was not able to purchase that house or whatever that you had planned to. And it's okay to say, so what do I do in the next year? How do I reduce pressure? But also, how do I set realistic goals that are measurable, that are achievable, that I'm able to align to with the timeline?
Yeah. And it's in the how you ask yourself these questions, right? So as opposed to saying, why did I fail, or what did I fail at? What did I, I suppose maybe something like, what could have I done better? How could I have done this better? I think framing is also so important. It also makes us see and view things either in a positive or negative light.
Yes. That is very, very important. We don't measure our year based on how perfect it was. We measure our year by what we learned about each other, from others, from ourselves, and from what we set ourselves to do. And being honest with where was I 2 years ago, and how have I shifted in mind, body, and soul? So it's not just about achieving cars, houses, but it's also about, and I think we touched on this already, it's also about what am I becoming aware of as a person? What am I learning about who I am? And what can I carry forward into the next year that really helps me to become a better person and to be able to meet people who are also ready to meet someone like me, becoming what you want others to be in your life.
We're speaking year-end reflections for families and individuals. My guest is Tshepo Matlou, a life coach, helping us make sense of that reflecting. Are you a person that reflects quite a bit? Is this your time of the year to reflect? I'm really interested in hearing how you go about the reflection journey, and does it work for you? Does it affect your new year in any way? If you're a person that has, that has been intentional over the years about reflecting and taking stock of the year that was, does it affect your new year in any way? Or some people say, it's all in the mind. What will be. Whatever is meant to happen will happen. I'm taking your calls on 011-883-0702. Give us a call and let us know how you go about your reflections. Tshepo, oftentimes when we think about the new year, or the year that was, I should say, you think of all the negative and the things that could have been better, things that you could have done better, how you could have shown up better. If you're a self-aware person, you might ask yourself, could I have been a better friend, a better sister, a better family members? Is it possible for a year to be difficult in terms of relationships, your finances, your goals, your targets, but still be a meaningful or successful year, even though you've gone through all the things that you've gone through?
Yeah. So I think we must pause on this reflection and realize that not every successful year looks happy. Some successful years look like survival. They look like healing. They look like letting go. Some successful years build new character. It depends who we are, and it clarifies our purpose. You are going to meet people on your journey that will hurt you, that will redirect you, that will push you to a different side of life. But meaningful years could also contain loss. It can involve endings whereby a relationship ends, a job ends, certain financial supports end, and we lose certain important people in our life. It can also feel heavy with the pressures of life that we carry, with the relationships that won't work, with children. It can also bring a little bit of illusions whereby we start to look at things that did not even exist. Sometimes we have so much fear, we doubt ourselves. So it's important to recreate ourselves. And that is why I always say to my clients, you're not becoming something else. You're not becoming someone else. You are becoming the better version of yourself because you're yourself. There is no becoming something else that you're not. And maybe the biggest thing is becoming aware of who you are becoming, and then acknowledging those things that are coming out and accepting that, this is what has happened this year, but I am going to try and do it differently next year. And believe in yourself. Believe in yourself more. Depend on yourself and reduce dependencies on other people, because that brings disappointment, that brings sadness. The sense of rejection makes us to feel like we are not wanted. But most importantly, the last thing is creating. Focus on recreating yourself all the time when things go bad, whether you are left behind or you walked away from someone, whether financials knocked you down and you couldn't financially meet all your obligations for this year. It's okay. What is important is to reflect and recreate, understanding that the power of creation starts with who you are.
And Tshepo, what are some of the thoughts and habits, I suppose, that we should be consciously leaving behind before entering a new year? Because as we enter, we always say, I don't know if you've seen that meme that makes the rounds every time at this at this time of the year where it's a lady who's got baggage, carrying baggage, and they're walking up a flight of stairs, and they say leaving behind whatever, debt, this, that, right? And while it's a meme that we've started to see quite a bit every year at this time of the year, I think it still speaks to something really important, that there are things that we should be leaving behind as we enter a new year for new beginnings.
Yes, Kgomotso, I think the first thing is being able to leave the guilt about what we could not do or what we could not achieve. That guilt, it's one thing that I will hope that everybody look at leaving behind. We need to carry lessons forward, not blame. We need to carry lessons forward, not self-judgment. We need to carry lessons forward, not emotional baggage. Because this is the simple thing that I grew up understanding. You go to bed angry, you wake up angry. So there hasn't been a change of a feeling from last night to today. So are we growing into anger? Are we going into aggression? Are we going into pain? There is the statement that I wrote about in my new book titled Healing Trauma. It's being comfortable with the pain. Being comfortable with the pain. When pain feels familiar and we say it's better to live in this pain than recreating ourselves or starting anew. So as you start a new year, ask yourself, what are the things I'm leaving behind? What are the people that I'm walking away from who do not serve my purpose to become the greatest in what I want to achieve in my life? So that we do not carry negative emotions. Yeah. We do not carry pointing fingers at other people, but we look at ourselves and say, how have I enabled this behavior? How have I enabled this person to do this to me? We are easy to judge, we are easy to blame, but we never look at how we contributed to the situation.
And how does one, so now that you've reflected, you realize that, I played a role in the situation, or I could have done better, I could have made better choices. How do you turn that into intention? Because it's one thing to be aware and to realize your role in whatever's happened, but then you need to move beyond that, and now there must be intention.
I think setting intention is about being. So it's about becoming. Because we have done something in this year and we can reflect and say, what have I done? But as we move into the new year, we now ask ourselves, what are we supposed to be becoming? Let's give an example. If somebody wants to lose weight and they say, I must lose weight, I must lose 10 kg. It's not the same as I want to care for my body with compassion so that I can become healthy. I want to care for my body with compassion so that I can become healthy. We are still talking about weight loss, but we're not putting a pressure of I want to lose 10 kg. We are looking at taking care of the body, because when you look after your body, you will reduce weight anyway. So it becomes an intention that is grounded on love, and it's grounded on self-care. It's grounded on becoming a better person. Instead of saying, I want to succeed or I want to be successful, we need to be asking ourselves whether we can change the language and say, I want to live aligned life with my values. And if we don't have values, then we start setting values. My values, these are my five values. When I live with my values drive me to purpose. Purpose drive me to success. So the goal should not be, I want to succeed in 2026. The goal should be, I want to align myself with my values, with my purpose. Because intentions guide behavior.
Yeah.
Intentions guide behavior. And when we change behavior, we can achieve every goal. This is where you can even decide that I don't want to drive that, I don't have to drive that 1 million car because I can't afford it. But for now, I can drive the 100,000 car because that's what I can afford for now. It doesn't take away the dream of driving that 1 million car in the next 5-10 years, which is why I was calling earlier on people reflecting late, that we want quick and immediate gratification. And I think that is the problem. We don't have to always get quick, same day, same time gratification, because that takes away the intention. It takes away the realisticness of who we become when we set goals for who we want to become. So
Tshepo?
it takes that away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that contribution. They really appreciate your insights. We were speaking about year-end reflections for families and individuals under our Family Matters feature. And I hope that has inspired you to reflect as the year comes to an end.